Thanks for tuning in to our Three Strands podcast. We desire to have a chill conversation to help young adults navigate life and build our community one podcast at a time.
Hello people, welcome to another episode of 2024, first official episode of 2024. Welcome to the podcast studio. If you're watching online, which means you're watching on YouTube, you probably noticed something a little bit different. Well, hopefully you do. We have a mobile table, pretty nifty.
It moves.
And you also see two other people sitting next to me. We got Paz right here and Kayla. Both are two awesome people. Paz is an amazing member of Three Strands, one of our deacons, small group leaders. Kayla, she's been coming since about August of 2023. She's been serving faithfully with Three Strands. Both are trusted. Both love Jesus. So on this podcast, we're going to talk about some stuff that we as young adults like to talk about.
Yeah.
How'd you guys, New Year's 2024, how do you guys like in 2024 so far?
So exciting. A lot of pressure. I think everybody is like expecting change and is excited for like resolutions and stuff. So a lot of like reflecting, but excited.
Yeah.
What about you?
Feel the pressure part. I don't know. I think it's more work pressure. I think outside of like New Year's, I'm just like, the trees didn't rebloom, so neither am I. I'm still growing.
You're waiting till May. Your New Year's in May.
Let's go.
Start of summer. I love it.
Well, that's exciting, Paul. What do we have to talk about today?
So as I was reflecting, as you do whenever you hit like December 31st, I was thinking that it'd be great to start the new year talking about resolutions.
Okay.
And I think talking about resolutions, talking about what that means as a young adult, meaning like from the ages of 18 to 25, like what does that mean socially, but most importantly, what does that mean spiritually? I feel like whenever we're thinking about resolutions, sometimes we don't keep God in mind and we try to have control of like all the things we want to do, right? So it's like, I want to wake up and go to the gym and do this and do that, but then have you consulted God with that? And so I think as I reflected and I followed all the TikTok trends of like, do this for like before
the ins and outs.
The ins and outs and stuff. I realized it was a hard realization and I was like, dang, like I haven't prayed about any of this. This is just like cutesy little like more daily walks or like
you have like your highlighters in your notebook writing down.
But it's like, where is God in all of that? So I think that's just something to think about, something that we can talk about a little bit today. So
New Year's resolutions. Do you guys have any that you're willing to share?
I mean, I think I made it pretty obvious that I don't. I don't know. I'm like on the side of like when it comes to New Year's resolutions, it's like the trees didn't hide and then come out again and start over. But I see where people like to use this as like a launching ground to change things. So for me, I think it's just like, let me just continue being the best that I can. And I
already went 0 for 2 on mine.
Yeah,
it's January 2nd and I'm 0 for 2.
Did you not go to the gym?
It wasn't the gym. I wanted one of my New Year's resolutions was to wake up the same time every single morning.
It's only been 2 mornings.
And it's only been 2 mornings.
I think you slept till like 1
that
p.m.
pressure. That pressure's insane.
I'm thinking like, okay, develop rhythms, habits.
Of course.
I want to wake up every single day at the same time, start my morning the same way.
Right.
I'm 0 for 2 right now with waking up.
What was the second one?
The first
was it reading?
Monday, I woke up at like 8:15 and I'll shoot for 7:15.
Okay.
Only missed it by an hour. Today, still woke up at 7:15, then snooze till 8 o'clock.
Oh.
So, what do you do when you've already failed your New Year's resolution?
Well,
you try again.
Yeah, you try again.
Okay.
I feel like it's not an end-all be-all. There's so many jokes about like the gym. Like if you didn't hit the gym January 1st, like you're just not gonna hit the
just
gym.
don't go anymore.
But yeah, like for me, like one of my main things was definitely like getting closer to God. Well, that was after I reflected and I was like, none of my resolutions have to do with God. But like you speaking about like you're waking up, like the habits that you're trying to break, like all these things. Like when you're entering the new year, you think about all these things that you want to change. And like you said, like it's just another day. Like I woke up on Monday and I was like you're supposed to feel different, but it's literally just another day. I feel like if anything,
you're more tired because you stayed out the night before. So you're starting off the year like exhausted.
But I do think it would be a little silly to not acknowledge that the rest of the world is starting fresh and they're feeling motivated. And there's something beautiful about feeling motivated to be in the Word more, feeling motivated to be healthier, and to do a lot of the resolutions are all like positive. They all like want to, like, people want to be better, but it's hard to get there when you don't have Christ in the center, and you're not letting Him like dictate those things for you, you know. So
that's good. I think spiritually wise, with a spiritual New Year's resolution, like the fresh restart button, it falls back to obedience.
Yeah.
Like spiritually, the same principles that have been around 2,000 years ago are still here today.
Yes.
And we shouldn't need the reset button, so to speak. It's just, hey, if they were obedient, you know, back when Jesus was walking on the earth and Jesus said, hey, follow me, worship me, pray to me, you know, flee from this, obey that, the obedience factor, it still remains the same. But then we need that reset button when it starts to get a little squirrely. Right. When we go from the narrow path to the wide path, so to speak, in Matthew 7, and it starts to get squirrely. New Year's brings a good reflection. Okay, hey, where have I been at? Now let me get back on this track of obedience.
Exactly. And I think there's definitely truth behind like seasonal depression, right? And so I feel like in the colder months, you have like, you hit this low that makes you like want to stay in and isolate and then reflect a lot more. And so I think people just latch on to like the first of the year and they're like this is my moment. And I feel like as humans we all go through it. I see it with everybody. And so but that's why I feel like the pressure comes in though. It's like people are like getting it. Like if I don't get it in the first 2 days, I just failed my whole 2024. And I think it's just like but then it's just like the understanding that like you can reset February 1st because you messed up in January. Literally today.
Tomorrow,
like right
today.
Now.
I can wake up
make the commitment to your success tomorrow, or make the commitment to your success tomorrow, Josh. 7:15 a.m. Wake up. But I think also like in the spiritual mindset, like I don't know. I feel like when I like pray for like what I want or like what I think or things coming up, it's just like I've only literally asked for wisdom and guidance. So I feel like he's kind of like, all right, give me something else to talk about. But like I'm literally just like, I pray for wisdom, guidance, like whatever you want right now. But I think that's just like where I'm at in my path is just like whatever goals you have for me, let me fulfill them. So I can't really write down like my resolutions because it's just like what God wants me to do. And it's like just trying to figure that out. So
but then that, not saying you personally, just our age gap, that can get really
confusing,
watered down. Like, hey, I'm just gonna spend this year doing whatever God has for me. You know, I'm just gonna wait for Him to speak on me. I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. And so long, but behold, you've been sitting on the couch for 6 months, waiting for God to speak to you when He's been speaking to you this whole time. Like, bro, what you doing with your life? Not you specifically, just our age gap. That's something I see a lot of. Like, okay, God, whatever you have for me, I'm gonna do. I'll, you know, whatever about this relationship or this job, whatever, which is good intent. Yeah. But then I think there's a balance between that, right? Hey, I'm gonna wait for God to speak to me, but I'm also gonna have obedience in some biblical principles.
Of course.
To where both those things are happening simultaneously. Yeah. And that both things can be true at the same time. Yeah. It can be 100% true for you to wait on God and Him to speak to you, and 100% true for you to go run after Him, take action, go make an impact, start serving, start volunteering, start reading the Word.
2024 mission trip.
2024 going on.
Oh, I guess that is one of mine.
That's a good goal.
Oh yeah, I forgot that I had that. Sorry.
Your mission trip's your backyard. It never leaves.
Don't get me started on those. But never mind. Anyway.
No, but I think that's a very weighty balance that we lose track of when it comes to New Year's resolutions. Do this, do that, restart, refresh. It's the sitting on the sidelines of I'm just gonna wait on God. I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait with good intentions. But then 2025 comes by and it's like, God, I waited on you this whole year and we didn't do anything. And God's like, well, because you sat on the couch.
See, I tried.
But the crazy thing is, I've noticed, and this is just a general statement, like a lot of us would say like, I'm just going to wait on God to do X, Y, and Z. And a lot of those things are like directly correlated to spiritual things, but we're so quick to act on the newest like diet, you know what I mean? So like, or like, oh, like I'm definitely going to do, I'll use this example. If Brody is hearing this, he'll laugh. I'm going to do 75 hard. Like that is something I'm going to do. Like I'm going to do this fitness challenge, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to wait for God to tell me what to do in ministry. You know what I mean? And so it's like all these people are saying like, I want to be more active in my community and do this and do that. But it's like the church that I'm attending, like, am I serving? Am I pouring out to people that I can like, am I looking for discipleship? Am I looking to be in a Bible study? I feel like we're so quick to act on all these exciting things like that are of the world that not necessarily are bad. They can be good for your flesh and for your outwardly body, but spiritually sometimes we're just like,
there's an indecisiveness.
yeah.
With the world stuff, we're very decisive. Like, hey, I'll buy this,
That's
I'll
good.
do that, I'll try this, I will. But then when it comes to spiritualness, there's an indecisiveness because we're afraid we'll miss it.
Okay.
Like, hey, if I turn left instead of right, my whole life was screwed up because I'm not following God's will anymore.
Right.
Or hey, if I take this job instead of that job, I'm outside of God's will, so now my
true.
whole life is screwed up. If I date this person instead of that person, if I go to this, because we're afraid we're gonna miss what God has for us, and then we get so caught up in the fear of being indecisive that we're gonna miss what God has for us. When really, man, this is we're unpacking another theological thing.
Right.
We always think our life is like, hey, this small little bullseye of like, hey, okay, I got to make the left turn at this light. I got to date this person at this time. I got to take this job at this time. I got to move out of the house at this time and graduate to where it's all threading the needle between one long continuous decision. And that's just not true. God's will for your life, John 6, it's in John 6, 36, 37, is to believe in the one he sent. Point blank period.
Yep.
So if you believe in Jesus,
And
then there's your New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
You're good. As long as whatever decision you're making is not sin,
Yep.
God's like, okay, cool. Now there is some counsel and there's some wisdom
Yeah.
and some discernment. Okay, God, are you opening this door? Are you closing this
Right.
door? But don't get caught up in the fear of indecisiveness. Even actually the Bible would even, I'd submit this to you and say, look, God says to test it out. He says it in Romans 12, 2-3. Renew your mind. Do not be conformed by the patterns of this world. Be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Of course.
That by testing, you may discern what is the will of your Father, what is good and acceptable. So that by testing, so if you're like, hey, this New Year's 2024, I'm going to wait on God. I'm going to wait on God. Da, 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 da. Well, go test it out.
Yeah.
Like, go jiggle that doorknob. Is it unlocked? Is it open? Go find out.
Yeah. Go do the things like the Bible. Sometimes I feel like we overcomplicate the Bible. Like it's very clear of like what we need to do. Like the foundation at least. Like we all have like the same purpose, right?
Yep.
We like Jesus, Great Commission, all these things. And individually, due to our skills and talents and our lives, we have different paths. But like the foundation is still the same. Like what you have to obey is still the same. Like the way that you should walk alongside Jesus, the fruits of the Spirit, like that doesn't change. And so the indecisiveness comes like definitely, I feel like a lot of it is from the enemy. He never wants you to fully like
He wants to
leave.
he's the deceiver.
Yeah.
He wants to deceive you and confuse you.
And so I lost my train of thought. But yeah, deceive you and confuse you. Yeah, prowling lion.
I'll share an encouraging story. So I just got this text. Shout out to Clay. Clay, if you're listening to this, he's in Florida. He went on our 3 Strands winter retreat.
Nice.
And he texted me. We've been texting this past weekend, and he wants to start kind of a young adult group at his church in Florida that doesn't have anything. He's like, man, I love 3 Strands. Loved it. Want that experience here.
3 Strands in Florida?
3 Strands in Florida. So like, help me get this young adult group in Florida. Like, how do I do it? Who do I talk to? Da 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 da. But he's younger than me. The dude's 22 years old, I believe, or 23, maybe the same age.
I bet he wakes up at 7:15.
He may wake up. Like, you wake up
See, now that is not good community. But okay.
But this is just an idea of like, hey, New Year's 2024, like we don't have to sit on the sidelines and do something.
Exactly.
Like
there
this
it is.
dude, he's our age. If you're listening to this and you're 18 to 25, he's our age. Going to a church that he attends that doesn't have anything for a young adult group, and he's just say, hey, I'm going to
Just
go
make
make
it.
it happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to go do
It's
it.
beautiful.
I'm not going to sit on the sidelines and be indecisive for 12 months.
Or like wait for someone else to create it.
Well, yeah.
It's like I don't
Yeah.
have a group, and it's like, well, just make one then.
Or
There you
just
go.
wait
You know?
for God, tell me when, and God is like, bruh,
Right now.
Get in
like
your car.
I put you in this situation for a reason.
That's right. So that's just an encouraging story. So if anybody's listening to this and you're like, hey, maybe I'm scared to start something in 2024. Maybe God's been teaching me something in this past year.
Right.
And I want to
Yeah.
do it. I want to try it. Maybe I'm scared. Or, man, even outside of the super creating a ministry route.
Yeah.
So just the idea of life. Like, hey, I feel like I want to do this. This is wise. It's not sin.
Right.
I feel like I should take this job or date this person or go to this school or even drop out. Whatever the case may be. Go try it. With wisdom, with counsel, like seek wisdom.
Yeah,
seek
this is counsel. I feel like it's the best thing. Like when people want to lose weight, they get a personal trainer. But when you want to walk with God, you're like, I'm going to handle it myself.
Period. Look,
You know, like
that's very
it's
true.
serious. Like people don't like you Google how do I lose weight in like 10 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
But no one will go to a church and be like, Josh, I'm actually like, I want to start this walk. Like, and I'm not saying nobody, but like that would be a good step then if you're like, okay, I made these 20 New Year's resolutions, but none of them like walk with God. How do I do that? Then go find Josh Paul's, like go find a leader and be like, can you walk me through this?
Yeah.
because like, again, like you go on Instagram right now and you can probably find like 14 ab workouts
That's true.
to follow. So like, yeah, finding good counsel and like wise leadership would be great to help like align those two together.
That's true. I mean, the resources for all the worldly things are there, but so are like the things for your spiritual
We just have to search.
You have to, really want it, for sure. And I know that like God definitely puts that in. If you're thinking about it, or if you're like, if you hear this and you're like, you feel a little something, like that means do it.
Jump in, full send.
It's almost like, going back to what you both said, here at Three Strands, why we do what we do, and just what the Bible says about it. That Three Strands is not just a name that we came up with.
Come on, say biblical.
It. Yeah.
It says, two are better off than one, for they can help each other and succeed. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help. But someone who falls alone is in real trouble. This is Ecclesiastes 4:10. But someone who falls alone is in real trouble. So if you got these New Year's resolutions, like me waking up at 7:15, I did not tell anybody, hey, this is my goal.
Yeah, now I'm going to call you immediately.
And look what happened. I'm 0 for 2. I have fell in a way. I mean, not in a sinful way, but I have fell. And nobody was there to pick me up and say, hey, bro, Josh, you said 7:15, and now it's 8:15. You're still in bed.
Right.
Let's go. But this is why we need accountability and community. The same thing you said, hey, if we work out and say, hey, we're all going to go to the gym today, for the next month, we're going to go every single day. There's going to be trainers who have our back, keep us accountable. Hey, eat this, show up this, wake up this time, do this, do that. But then from the spiritual aspect of our life, we're not going to tell anybody our spiritual goals because we're scared of the accountability aspect.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Hey, it's a really great idea to read my Bible every single day. It sounds awesome. It sounds amazing. It sounds spiritual and beneficial. But do I really want somebody texting me every single day? Like, hey, did you read your word today?
Yeah, what did you get from that? And you're like,
You're like,
I've been on the other side of that. I've asked a friend, and when she actually texted me and I didn't, I was like, this feels really weird. You're not supposed to know that I didn't read my Bible today.
But look, let's keep reading what the Bible says, because this is super applicable. But someone who falls alone is in real trouble. So if you have 2024 goals right now, spiritual, not spiritual, even if it is as silly as waking up at 7:15 every morning, tell somebody your goal and tell somebody who can hold you accountable out of love and say, hey, look, this is my goal. Hold me accountable to this, because if you're alone, you're in real trouble according to the Bible. Likewise, two people, they can help each other out and keep each other warm. A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated. So if, again, you and your 2024 goals, you're alone, you can be attacked and defeated. But two can withstand. They can go back to back and conquer. Even better, a 3 triple cord or a 3-stranded cord is not easily broken.
There it is.
So you got goals, tell somebody. Tell at least two people, like, hey, this is my goal for this month, this week, 2024. This is what I'm attempting to do. Now you tell me your goals, and we're going to hold each other accountable at the same exact time. So it's not a hierarchy with you and your friend. Okay, pause. I told you I'm going to wake up at 7:15. You told me you're going to start reading a proverb a day, whatever. Okay, Kayla, I told you this. Now you tell me one of yours, and us three together. Yeah. I'm going to throw us all in a group chat, and we're going to go.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. And if not, and when I do fall and stumble, because there'll be times I fall and stumble.
Of course.
Pick them back up.
To be there.
Yeah.
Hey, let me pick you up, and let's keep rocking, and let's keep rolling.
Yeah. It's definitely, your New Year's resolutions is not something you have to do alone. And like following that commandment is even stepping into obedience, and God knew we needed community. I always think like Jesus, God himself, needed people. Like you imagine if he needed people, like what makes us think that
you think you're stronger
we're meant to be alone? We're not.
You think you can handle all this?
So just, I guess, like stepping into 2024, stepping into obedience, leaning on each other, like you can do.
Ask for help.
And it doesn't have to be, I mean, the spirituality part is the most important, but even in like the cool things, like if you want to do a daily walk, tell your friend, like, I want to do a daily walk, come with me, or like just ask me how my walk was.
I want to start a new hobby. I want to start a new sport. Whatever.
Spartan race.
I want to do a Spartan race.
Yeah. So
enjoy life. Man, one of the most, going back to community real quick, my biggest pet peeve in the church world, so to speak, is when somebody will show up and then they leave the church feeling unconnected. But they're like, oh man, this place was so big and I don't know if I fit in. But then all you did is you showed up for 4 weeks in a row and you sat in the back row and you didn't talk to nobody.
Very
you didn't
true.
fill out no connection card. You didn't do absolutely anything except show up. And
That's
then
true.
you left and then got mad at the church for not you being connected.
Very
So
true.
full send yourself into your community groups, honestly.
There's one person that I know, he always says community is built, not found.
Oh.
And that I remember when I heard, because I was that bitter person that was always like, nobody loves me. And then when I heard that, I was like, dang, like I have the power to go up to someone and be like, hey, do you want to read the Bible? Or hey, do you want to get coffee? And it's like, people are going to say yes. And if they say no,
that's okay.
Invite them to McDonald's. Maybe they don't drink coffee.
Maybe
You know, like
coffee.
It's fine.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing for sure.
That's good. 2024. Set your goals.
Yes.
Plan ahead. Figure out what you want to do. Go tell somebody your goals that you love and trust, that has wise counsel.
Don't sit still. You know, put action towards the stuff that you want to do, that God puts in your heart.
Yep.
Don't be that girl. Don't be that guy.
Thanks for tuning in to our Three Strands podcast. We desire to have a chill conversation to help young adults navigate life and build our community one podcast at a time.